every morning, before millions of people even wake up, money quietly changes hands. No advertisements, no negotiations, no sales calls, no buying decisions, just silent transactions executed automatically. Entire fortunes are generated while their customers are sleeping. This is not financial magic. It is architectural design. Most businesses must convince customers to buy again, again, again. But some businesses solved a far more interesting problem. They eliminated the need to repeatedly sell. Instead, they engineered a system where buying became a continuous process. People believe subscriptions are simply another pricing strategy, but pricing is only the surface. Beneath it lies one of the most sophisticated business architectures ever created. Because the greatest companies of the digital age are not selling products. They are engineering predictable behavior. And predictable behavior creates predictable cash flow. For thousands of years, commerce worked the same way. A customer wanted something. Money changed hands. The transaction ended. Tomorrow, the entire process started again. Businesses survived by constantly restarting demand. Every sale required another campaign, another conversation, another moment of persuasion. Growth depended on repetition. But infrastructure architects asked a different question. What if the transaction never truly ended? What if trust could continue generating value long after the initial purchase? This single question transformed modern business. The objective was no longer maximizing today's revenue. The objective became designing tomorrow's certainty. The sales stopped being an event. It became an operating system. Revenue stopped behaving like weather. It started behaving like infrastructure. And once revenue becomes infrastructure, business itself changes. Not because customers spend more, but because uncertainty spends less.
Imagine two companies. Each generates exactly $100 million every year. From the outside, they appear identical, but investors rarely value them the same. The first company must earn every dollar from scratch. Every month begins with uncertainty. Every quarter begins with pressure. Its future depends on winning tomorrow. The second company begins each month already knowing much of its future revenue. Before selling anything new, its financial engine is already running. The numbers may look identical. The architecture is not. Markets rarely reward revenue alone. They reward confidence. Confidence reduces risk. Risk determines valuation, and valuation shapes wealth. This is why recurring revenue is not merely an accounting model, it is an infrastructure advantage, one that quietly reshapes how entire economies assign value.
Most people believe a subscription begins with a payment. The architect knows it begins much earlier. It begins with trust. Trust attracts attention. Attention creates engagement. Engagement produces commitment. Commitment authorizes automation. And automation transforms individual decisions into continuous financial movement. This is the recurring revenue engine, not a payment system, a behavioral system. Every successful subscription architecture is built upon 5 interconnected layers. The first is acquisition. Its responsibility is not simply finding customers. It is filtering the right customers. Growth without alignment only accelerates future cancellations. The second layer is activation.
The first experience determines the future relationship. If customers immediately understand the value, retention becomes dramatically easier. The third layer is retention. This is where most companies misunderstand the game. Retention is not about preventing people from leaving. It is about giving them fewer reasons to consider leaving. Every improvement, every feature, every interaction reduces friction, and friction is the silent enemy of recurring revenue. The fourth layer is expansion. Healthy subscription businesses do not merely keep customers, they deepen relationships. Additional services, higher tiers, new capabilities, greater integration. Revenue grows without restarting the customer journey. The fifth layer is renewal, the moment where the customer quietly decides whether your system deserves another cycle. Great businesses never force this decision, they make it almost invisible. When these 5 layers operate together, the company no longer chases revenue. Revenue begins circulating naturally through the architecture, like blood through a healthy body. Continuous, predictable, compounding.
The greatest subscription businesses are rarely built around products. They are built around habits. Products can be compared. Habits become invisible. Think about the services people use every day. Music, cloud storage, productivity software, education, communication, entertainment. Over time, they stop feeling like purchases. They begin feeling like utilities. And utilities are remarkably difficult to replace, not because competitors do not exist, but because routines resist disruption. This is one of the most misunderstood principles in modern business. Companies are not competing for transactions, they are competing for integration. The deeper they integrate into a customer's workflow, the more valuable they become. Eventually, switching costs are no longer measured in money, they are measured in inconvenience, time, lost familiarity, interrupted routines. The architecture quietly shifts. The subscription is no longer attached to a product, it becomes attached to the customer's identity. That is where recurring revenue becomes extraordinarily resilient, because people rarely abandon systems that have become part of their daily lives. But every powerful architecture creates a new danger. Subscriptions create stability. They also create complacency. Some companies stop improving because recurring revenue masks declining value. Customers remain for a while. Revenue continues for a while. Growth appears healthy for a while. But beneath the surface, trust begins eroding. Every unnoticed frustration accumulates. Every ignored complaint compounds. Every broken promise weakens the system. Eventually, the architecture reaches a tipping point. Cancellations accelerate. Growth reverses. Confidence disappears. What once looked like an unstoppable financial engine reveals itself to be fragile, not because subscriptions failed, because stewardship failed. Recurring revenue is never permanent. It is continuously earned. Automation collects payments. Only value earns permission. The strongest subscription businesses understand this distinction. Their systems automate transactions. Their culture continuously improves the experience, because infrastructure without evolution eventually becomes obsolete, and obsolete systems always collapse under their own weight. Money is valuable, but certainty is even more valuable. A business that earns $1 million once creates profit. A business that reliably earns $100,000 every month creates confidence. And confidence changes behavior. Banks lend differently. Investors value differently. Founders plan differently. Employees think differently. The architecture itself begins attracting opportunity because certainty reduces hesitation, and hesitation is one of the hidden taxes of every economy. This is why recurring revenue became one of the defining business models of the digital age, not because customers enjoy subscriptions, but because systems reward predictability. Predictable cash flow enables long-term investment. Long-term investment creates stronger products. Stronger products deepen customer trust. Trust increases retention. Retention reinforces recurring cash flow. A self-reinforcing loop emerges, not powered by marketing alone, not powered by technology alone, but powered by architecture. This is the difference between businesses that survive market cycles and businesses that define them. The strongest companies do not simply generate revenue, they engineer certainty. And certainty is one of the most valuable assets any system can possess. If your business depends on convincing people to buy every single month, you are managing transactions. If your business continually delivers value until customers willingly remain, you are designing infrastructure. The distinction changes every decision. You stop asking, how do I increase sales? You begin asking, how do I increase lifetime value? You stop optimizing advertisements. You begin optimizing relationships. You stop chasing customers. You begin designing ecosystems. Because sustainable businesses are not measured by how often they sell, they are measured by how consistently they remain valuable. The objective is no longer maximizing today's revenue. The objective is creating tomorrow's predictability. When value compounds, cash flow follows. When trust compounds, retention follows. When architecture compounds, wealth follows. The visible subscription is only the interface. The invisible system is where the real business exists. Most people believe subscriptions are about monthly payments. The architect sees something deeper. A subscription is a system of trust, a framework of continuity, an infrastructure of certainty. Products may change, markets may change, technology will certainly change, but one principle remains constant. The businesses that endure are the businesses that reduce uncertainty. Because recurring revenue is never just about collecting payments. It is about engineering relationships that continue creating value long after the first transaction is complete. The future will not belong to companies that sell the most. It will belong to those that design the most resilient systems. Because visibility creates attention, but architecture creates permanence. This is Nexera, decoding systems, architecting wealth.